Hey guys, how you guys doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing good. So today we're going to create some more insightful content to help you guys to be able to freely create and master the owner's manual of your mind. All right. So today what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to help you guys to really key detachment. Okay. And we're going to talk about the ego. I've been getting so many messages and so many emails about the ego. It's become a subject, or it seems to be difficult for many individuals to overcome or to disengage what I call the ego. All right, so this is what I'm going to help you guys with today. I'm going to give you some tips. I'm going to show you how the mind works. We're going to talk a little bit about the conscious to subconscious, and how the ego, which is housed in the conscious mind, how it relates to your subconscious mind. Okay, I'm going to show you a huge technique to use, or a tip, but basically it's an awareness pattern, or an awareness alertness. And once you recognize this awareness, you will be able, or you should now be able, to really detach and free yourself from that ego mind. All right, so let's begin. So first of all, let's go into the mind. So let's talk about your mind. Okay, so we're going to focus on two parts of your mind. We're going to focus on your subconscious, and we're going to focus on the conscious. All right, so where is the ego? What does it do? How does it work? All right, so your ego, it is stored, or it is housed within your conscious mind. Okay, the conscious mind is where you do all your thinking, your reasoning, your rationalizing, you form opinions. Okay, so the ego is housed in what I call that intelligent part of the mind, so to speak, right? But there's something about the ego that I like to call the primitive mind. You see, while your conscious mind on that part of your brain, it has reasoning in it, it can analyze, it can rationalize, it can think, it can form opinions, and it creates perceptions. There's also another part that hasn't fully developed, and I call that the childlike mind, or we call that the primitive mind, or the ego. That's the ego. So your ego, that's housed within your conscious mind, is driven with one derivative. Okay, it's driven with one prerogative: to survive. That's the sole purpose of the ego, to just keep you alive. It's designed to preserve its own self, so to speak. All right, so that's the ego. It's housed in there. Number one, here's some tips or some facts. You cannot kill your ego. Cannot do it. Okay, the mind, or the conscious mind, is designed. It was a perfect design. When God, the universe, created the minds or consciousness. So your conscious mind, this is what it was designed for, where the ego houses. Okay, it was designed for you to think those beautiful thoughts, to think those desires. Okay, to say what you desire, and then your subconscious mind, which is the higher mind, picks up on it, and they both agree, and then you allow to create or to manifest your desires to come into to reality. All right, so that's how it will go. That's how it works when both of these minds are operating together. Okay, good. All right, so that's how it is. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the subconscious. Okay, how it relates. So your conscious mind, or the ego, it houses thoughts. Okay, creates your desires. Okay, it makes you think these things. Okay, and you can reason, you can rationalize, you can form perceptions. Okay, now let's go into the higher mind, the subconscious. Your conscious mind is known as the rational, logical mind. Subconscious, we call it the irrational or illogical mind. The subconscious is very, very, I wouldn't want to use the word enormous, but is infinite. There's nothing it cannot process. There's nothing it cannot handle. Your subconscious mind, everything is easy and nothing is impossible to that mind. Okay, your subconscious mind, guys, remember, it cannot take a joke. It takes everything literal. So if you're saying, oh, I'm so stupid, oh, why am I so broke, your subconscious mind don't know it's a joke. It believes, and it takes everything you say, and it forms, and it believes. So it believes that's what you want, or that's what you desire, or that's what you're portraying. Another important factor: subconscious mind only knows you. Repeat that again. Your subconscious mind only knows you. Doesn't know Tom, John, your mom, your sister. So think about what I've just said. So that means every individual, or every person that you judge, or you say something negative, or you detest, or you put down, your subconscious mind is actually believing that's what you are portraying. Repeat that. Your subconscious mind only knows you. So any individual you're putting down, judging, saying this bad, anything with negative connotations, or speaking about yourself, your subconscious mind believes you're referring to you. Give an example. If you see an individual, say you're manifesting wealth, you want to attract a lot of money and abundance, but down the street you see some individual, they may have a nice car, they may have a nice house, they may have dressed pretty good, and then when you see that individual, you start saying, oh, I just hate those people, they just act like they're all that, they always got this money, and they try to, your subconscious mind now is picking up, that's what you want, that's what you are. So what is it saying now? I hate those individuals, they don't have the money, they act like they're, so your subconscious mind now thinks and starts to rationalize, starts to form now that you don't want that money, you don't want wealth, you're detesting it. Okay, very important. It's not going to, remember, your subconscious is the illogical, cannot think, cannot reason. So it's going to pick up on the emotion and the feelings that you're putting out. It thinks that's what you want. So if you're visualizing wealth, success, and then you're out there detesting it on somebody else, you know, you cannot manifest, you cannot create from a state of lack and into an abundance. It doesn't work. It's two conflicting frequencies, guys. So keep that in mind. Your subconscious mind only knows you. All right, now let's put them together. Now the conscious mind, or where the ego is, it's the primary force, or one of the forces that can really stop you. So let's use quantum physics, or let's talk about quantum mechanics, how the mind works, because everything is derived from these particles. The same ingredients create every single thing, and we have domain in our consciousness. So the ego is the primitive mind. Okay, so the primary objectives, as I said, for the ego is what? To keep you alive. So it creates its own perceptions on what I call reality loops, and it uses your feelings. It creates what I've called your feelings of doubt, fear, worry, and these mentality of scarcity. This has to do with partly how you are programmed. So your natural default state of programming, guys, is one of fear, lack, and scarcity. This is what society, your teachers, everything you learned, your mind absorbed it, and it believed and formed that what we call that reality loop. That's the ego mind. So it's always going to keep you in that loop. It uses these fears to paralyze you, so to speak, so you won't take a chance to move or to do something. Okay. Your higher mind, on the other hand, cannot be bound by fear, by doubt, by worry. It's impossible, because it has access and it knows every single thing that you could possibly desire, and it's connected to what we call the super conscious mind, or the mind of closest to God, or the mind of the collective consciousness. Okay. And now when we talk about creation on a physical plane, or now we're speaking about it on a quantum plane, or an energetic pattern plane, now everything has their own unique vibratory frequencies, your thoughts, even your own consciousness. So your mind, or your subconscious higher mind, believes that everything that you are looking or attaining is already here for you. Okay, so it believes you already have it. In your conscious mind now, it's a little different. Your conscious mind now sets limits and boundaries. Okay, because it literally believes that there's some things that you aren't able to achieve just because of its lack or its limitation of perceiving something beyond a physical manifestation level. Okay, so your mind is limited on that aspect. This is why your mind will constantly work to try to figure things out, to bring things in, but it cannot ever achieve it. Why? Because it has a limited spectrum. It cannot see beyond a certain point. Your higher mind, on the other hand, can see beyond dimensions. Your higher mind doesn't work in time as a dimensional format as your conscious mind does. Your conscious mind uses time in a linear format. Your subconscious mind uses time right now. So it believes everything is happening simultaneously this very moment. Okay, conscious mind, ego, can never come into the present moment. Why? Let's talk about what we just said. Because of its lack of experience, or its lack of that productivity, or its lack of, it cannot just figure things out. It cannot perceive things beyond a certain limit. It's a limited mind. So if it comes into the present, it's just too much information. Cannot handle it because it's quite limited. So your higher mind and the things you desire, everything you want, it's right here in this moment. If you can keep your mind here, you can attain these things. But your ego has a unique trick, okay? Because it's primitive and it wants to survive, it uses time. It keeps you in the past and keeps you in a future, a perception, so it won't be in the present. Because if you're in the present, you've disconnected you with your ego. So there's your first big tip. To disengage the ego, keep yourself in the present. How do you keep yourself in the present? Be in line with your higher mind. What I mean? Be in line with your desires. Start to think only of the things you desire. Start to think thoughts that make you feel good. That's the only purpose. If you do this, you're connected to your higher mind. You're out of the ego mind. When we think or focus on only what we want, it's a very complex event of creative forces happening here. When you're thinking and you're desiring and just focusing on what you want without figuring out the middle, which is how, why, when, you're actually creating highly electromagnetic vibratory frequencies. You are moving towards what you want. That's the goal. Remember what I said about your higher mind. It knows everything you want before you even know what you desire. So it knows how to get it to you. Just keep the vibration high. You can match the frequency and your reality becomes our perception becomes your reality. Now, when you're in the ego mind, okay, it will use things to lure you in. It uses time distortion, okay? Puts you in past and future. It keeps you with fear, with doubt. It tries to figure things out. It tries to work on its own agenda. This is how you know you're in the ego. So here's the big tip I'm going to leave with you today. Always go back to this tip. I'm going to give you an analogy. And if you find yourself in this analogy, you're in the ego mind and you're in that reality loop. Let's use the mouse in the wheel with the cheese. So you have the mouse and there's the cheese right there. The mouse is perpetually running on the wheel. Why is the mouse running the cheese? Well, the reason the mouse is running, that wheel is perpetually moving, because its desire is right in front of it, the cheese. It wants to grab the cheese. But here's the illusion of it. The mouse will never ever get the cheese, okay? Because the wheel spins perpetually and stays in the same momentum, therefore the mouse will never, but he still continues to run for the cheese. This is what happens when you're in the ego's mind. That's what I call the reality loop. You will always think and reach for your desires, and you will never reach them because your mind will give you an illusion, the ego, that you cannot get it, you have to do this to get it, or you have to do that to get it. Now, this is where the conscious and the subconscious clashes. Sorry, the conscious and the subconscious, they clash. Okay, because your subconscious holds your desires. So that part of your body, your mind, that says, hey, I can get this. The conscious now holds the reasoning to say why you can't get it. And this comes the comparison of the mouse and the cheese. So on one hand, you have your desires, your ego now. Conscious basically tricks you or gives you the illusion that you can have it. And you keep running and running. So how does it work? Well, if you start to think about the fear, the doubt, the worry, okay, you start to say what you don't have, how you can't get it, and then you're figuring things out. That's you on the wheel trying to grab the cheese. And I just showed you it will never work. Okay? Now, here's what happens. Once you get out of that ego and you get into your higher mind, here's what happens. Let's use the cheese again. Now you're able to see things from a different dimensional perspective because now you have awareness with your higher self, which knows the easiest and effortless ways to get you things. Always remember, energy will always seek the path of least resistance, just like water. So you don't have to force or create action. You only take action at the end of your manifestation, not before. If you're thinking of making action and doing stuff to make things happen, you are miscreating. Okay? Action is the very last step to get your manifestation. So now let's go back to that cheese situation. If you're connected to your higher mind, now it gives you the awareness, wakes you up and say, hey man, you're on a perpetual wheel that's going to keep moving. You're not going to get anywhere. So here's what you do. Why don't you just stop the wheel, reach your hands, and take the cheese, so to speak. That's it. Okay? That's what you get when you're in your higher mind. It creates and it gives you the intuition, the ideas, the visions, the access to people, the places for you to achieve your goal. Your ego will never do that for you, my friend. It cannot do it because that's not its objective. It's just to keep you surviving. So there's your huge tip to get out of the ego mind, guys. You always refer back to that wheel. So here's when you know you're in the ego mind. When you're in a time dilution, when you're trying to figure out how, why, when. When you're thinking your mind is constantly in a past, a future, okay? This is the condition of the ego. How do you know when you're out of the ego mind? When you start to only focus on things that you want, when you start worrying about how it's going to occur, when it's going to occur, okay? How else? When you start to keep your mind in the present moment by meditating, by visualizing. All these are what you put yourself into when you're connected to the higher mind, okay? Your ego will use also time in another perspective. It tells you let's wait for the right time. Just like that mouse on the cheese, he's running, running, running. He thinks he's gonna get his right time. It'll never be a right time, because the right time is now. Your subconscious says that, the higher mind believes that, and this is how it's created. So here's a tip. If you're sitting around and you're waiting for the right opportunity, the right time, it's not going to happen. Okay? You make the time now. The universe works very perplexing, guys. It works in a way, remember I talk about quantum mechanics now. Energy will always seek the path of least resistance. So the universe works in this way. Once you make a decision on what you desire or what you want, meaning once you see it in the mind, once you start to visualize it, once you start to create and think towards it, now the forces will bind together to help you to achieve it. Not before, okay? So these are some huge tips to overcome that, what we call rational mind, the ego mind, okay? Always remember now, refer back to the mouse in the cage. So if you find yourself in that, you're by your ego. So how do you get out of it? The awareness. Recognize that it is a primitive mind. Its primary objective is to keep you there. It knows nothing of an unlimited source of abundance. Ego has no concept of that. Its only concept is of its own agenda. Here, impatience, jealousy, envy, too much pride, too much competition. Okay, all these are the ego's objective. Time dilution, okay? It tries to form things in a rational way. It thinks it can figure things out because it has an intelligent mind, but the intelligence can only go so far. The higher mind, it has a super intelligence. It's beyond time dimension. It's in that quantum world where everything creates and comes together. This is where you have to be in order to receive your desires. All right, so that's some quick tips for you to start to negate and get through that ego mind. All right, so use these. Remember, keep your mind out, focusing on the now, see it in a desired way, and you'll be able to remove the ego. Just always remember that the ego is my primitive mind. It hasn't grown up. So when you realize these feelings and thoughts are coming into your head, disengage and say, wait a minute, this isn't my right mind. This is the mind that wants my desires. So let me go into the mind that wants I can create my desires. All right, good. All right, now guys, please feel free. This is why I create these courses on the website, so that you can start to create and manifest and get things for your mind. So visit www.markH.customisedsubliminals.com, enroll in those courses, create you. Now the coaching platform, I'm working on a more effective platform where I can get to help a lot of individuals at once. So I'm starting to create some group platforms where we can get as many individuals together. Now the one-on-one coaching, I really limited it now. So I didn't completely cut out one-on-one coaching, but I'm very limited now. So, and the individuals that I'm choosing to coach one-on-one, or if you desire to be coached one-on-one, just have to meet a few requirements. First of all, are you coachable? So number one, do you believe in what I'm teaching? Okay, if you do that, coachable. Number two, do you believe in a higher intelligence? God, an intelligent designer. Good. Okay. And do you believe that your mind can control and create your reality? If you have those criteria, then you're coachable. So you can reach me, mhaughton, gmail at mhaughton76, to inquire about the one-on-one coaching, but it's limited right now. I'm only taking a few. Primarily now I'm more focused on the group coaching, where I can get everybody in. And that you can go and visit www.markH.com. There should be a link there where you can sign up, put your name on the list, so that we can get it when I start. The group coaching will be around August, in that area where I'm setting things up. The Facebook group is doing excellent. Of course, it continues to grow. You guys are really using its teachings, putting them together, and I've seen excellent results. Remember, when you find this channel, guys, you see me here, it wasn't no coincidence. No such thing as coincidence. Once you watch all these videos you see on my channel, it'll put your mind and you'll see the perspective of where your mind is, okay? Facebook is growing group. I think a week ago, 2 weeks, I see there was two $10,000 winners in 1 week. A lot of good stories. It's beyond lottery, it's just about everything. These concepts that you're learning here, and these teachings, and we put them together, guys, they create anything in your life, anything you desire. You just have to know how to use the different parts of your mind. This is what I do. This is what I bring to you guys so that you can benefit. Vibrational numbers, doing excellent. Seeing so many winners. Thousands of dollars, individuals winning with their vibrational numbers. That's perfect. The reason why it works, because it's connected to you. Everything vibrates at a certain frequency. Numbers carry high vibratory frequencies. In particular, when it comes to lottery games such as casinos, lotteries, anything like that, this is where you use vibrational numbers. So to get your vibrational number just visit the website at www.markH.com. Put your name on there. I get them to you as soon as I can. Okay, they're always free, and also they're also based on your donation base. So either way, it's there for you to take advantage of. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in, and remember, go back to the ego mind. Remember, it's a primitive mind, so disengage the primitive mind. It doesn't want you to achieve your highest goals or highest desires because it's not aware of an infinite intelligence. Okay, these are tips that will get you to disengage so you can move forward and create a higher bond with that higher mind. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep some good content coming. All right, thank you guys. Bye bye.